Let's get started with our first news. Dana White has finally delivered on his promise of huge fight announcements, and the MMA world is buzzing. Yesterday, Dana teased fans by saying he was going live with massive news, and after nearly 10 hours of anticipation, he finally went on and confirmed some of the biggest fights of the year. The wait was long, but it was worth it. The first announcement is an absolute blockbuster. UFC 322 will be headlined by none other than Islam Makhachev vs JDM. That's right, the former lightweight king Islam, who was the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in 2023, 2024, and 2025, is finally moving up to welterweight. After cleaning out the lightweight division and riding an incredible 15-fight win streak, he now has his eyes set on making history. Islam will attempt to become one of the few fighters in UFC history to hold belts in 2 separate divisions. Standing in his way is the dangerous and newly crowned welterweight champion JDM, who will be defending his belt for the very first time. This fight is the very definition of a super fight, and it all goes down November 15th at Madison Square Garden in New York City. As if that wasn't enough, Dana also confirmed some major news for the co-main event. UFC strawweight champion Weili Zhang has officially vacated her belt at 115 pounds. After dominating the division and achieving everything there was to achieve, she is now moving up to flyweight to challenge Valentina Shevchenko. This matchup has been talked about for years, and it's finally happening. Zhang's move up in weight makes perfect sense, and her showdown with Valentina is going to be nothing short of epic. Fans will finally get to see 2 of the best female fighters of all time clash inside the octagon on the same night Islam takes on JDM. But Dana didn't stop there. He also revealed the return of former welterweight champion Leon Edwards, who will face off against the always dangerous and highly entertaining Carlos Prates. Carlos might be ranked number 9, but anyone who has seen him fight knows that he is a savage in the cage. This fight has fireworks written all over it, and only adds to what is already shaping up to be one of the best cards of the year. UFC 322 is absolutely stacked. Along with these announcements, Dana also dropped some fight news for UFC 321. Rising contender Umar Nurmagomedov will take on Mario Bautista in what promises to be a fast-paced technical showdown. On the women's side, Mackenzie Dern will face off against Verna Jandiroba in another intriguing matchup that could have serious implications for the strawweight division. Dana White went into this livestream promising huge news, and he delivered exactly that. UFC 321 already looks solid, but UFC 322 in New York City is on another level. Islam vs JDM for the welterweight title, Zhang moving up to challenge Valentina, Leon vs Carlos, and much more. November 15th is going to be unmissable. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Move on to another news. Ilia has never shied away from calling his shots, and now the featherweight champion is turning his attention toward one of the most dominant forces in the UFC, Islam Makhachev. Merab broke down exactly why he thinks Ilia could pull off what so many others have failed to do. He explained that Ilia is not afraid to force you into uncomfortable positions. If you shoot for a takedown, he has the defensive skills to stuff it. If you decide to strike with him, then you're entering dangerous territory because Ilia has serious knockout power in both hands. He's not just technical, he's aggressive, and he thrives in high-pressure situations. According to Merab, that style could give Islam serious problems. Islam, of course, is known for his relentless grappling, suffocating control, and ability to neutralize opponents. But Ilia has proven time and time again that he can stop takedowns, scramble back to his feet, and force strikers or wrestlers alike into situations they don't want to be in. Merab pointed out that Ilia's forward pressure combined with his durability makes him one of the most dangerous fighters on the roster. He acknowledged it wouldn't be an easy fight. Every matchup at this level is tough, and Islam is as elite as they come. Still, he believes Ilia has what it takes to finish the fight if the two ever meet inside the octagon. What makes this potential matchup even more intriguing is Ilia's ambition. He's already mentioned that if Islam moves up to welterweight and manages to capture the belt, he would be more than willing to chase him there. Ilia has made no secret of the fact that he wants to be a 3-division champion, something no one in UFC history has ever accomplished. The idea of him moving up from featherweight, capturing lightweight gold, and then chasing Islam at welterweight is the stuff of legends. It would be one of the biggest stories in combat sports, and Ilia seems ready to chase that dream. On the other side, if Islam were to lose at welterweight and decide to drop back down, Ilia has already made it clear that he would not be offering an immediate shot at the lightweight strap. He's been very direct about that. In his mind, Islam would have to earn another title fight just like everyone else. That kind of confidence mixed with his aggressive fighting style only adds to the hype surrounding this potential showdown. Ilia versus Islam is not just a fight, it's a clash of styles, a collision of dominance, and possibly the next super fight the UFC could put together. Islam's decade-long reign of excellence against Ilia's knockout power and fearless approach would be a battle for the ages. Move on to another news. Just weeks out from UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden, the debate surrounding Islam Makhachev's toughest challenge has never been hotter. While many analysts and fans believe Islam's grappling will once again prove too much for his opponent, Bisping has taken a different stance. He's siding with JDM, pointing to the Aussie's sharp boxing natural size advantage and the rock-solid wrestling defense that he displayed in his title-winning performance against Bilal Muhammad. For Bisping, these factors create the most dangerous stylistic threat Islam has faced yet, and he isn't alone in this opinion. Israel Adesanya has voiced similar confidence in JDM, saying he expects the welterweight champion to shine in the scrambles and disrupt Islam's rhythm during key transition moments. Even Team Khabib, while confident in their fighters' abilities, has acknowledged that JDM presents the toughest stylistic matchup they have prepared for to date. That in itself speaks volumes. Still, the majority of the MMA community leans towards Islam. Former champion Charles Oliveira, who knows firsthand the suffocating control of Islam on the mat, believes the fight will end quickly once it inevitably hits the ground. Both men enter this bout on incredible streaks. JDM has strung together 18 straight victories since losing his first 2 professional bouts, proving himself to be one of the most consistent and dangerous fighters in the sport. On the other hand, Islam has absolutely dominated the lightweight division for the past 3 years, carving out a legacy as one of the most complete fighters in the UFC today. The collision of these 2 streaks creates the kind of anticipation that only comes around once in a while. Bisping's breakdown of the fight paints a very clear picture. He highlighted JDM's size advantage, pointing out that he's naturally bigger and stronger at welterweight, while Islam is moving up from lightweight. Bisping praised JDM's takedown defense, explaining that he has already proven he can stop high-level wrestlers. His performance against Bilal Muhammad was the perfect example. Even when pressured up against the fence, JDM was able to stay calm, use his footwork, and shut down the attempts to drag him to the mat. Bisping also compared this to Leon Edwards. Leon was able to stop the takedowns of Kamaru Usman, but he struggled when Bilal pushed him to the fence. JDM, however, had no issue with Bilal's wrestling. That level of composure and defensive skill makes a huge difference when facing someone like Islam. Another point Bisping emphasized was JDM's boxing. He believes JDM has some of the cleanest and most effective boxing in the entire UFC. His footwork, precision, and timing make it extremely difficult for wrestlers to set up their takedowns. The ability to stay off the fence and circle away while landing strikes is a massive weapon in this matchup. Of course, Islam's striking has improved tremendously. We saw glimpses of it in his fight against Dustin Poirier, where he was able to hold his own on the feet, but as Bisping explained, much of that success came because opponents constantly feared the takedown. Against someone like JDM, who isn't as worried about being dragged down, the striking battle becomes much riskier for Islam. This is why Bisping concluded that it wouldn't surprise him at all if we see an UPS set at Madison Square Garden. In his eyes, JDM has the tools to shock the world and remain champion when UFC 322 comes to a close. Move on to another news. Justin Gaethje's pursuit of UFC lightweight gold has been one of the biggest storylines in the division for years, and now talks of a potential clash with Ilia have started to gain real traction. While nothing has been officially announced, the buzz around this matchup is growing louder with each passing week. Both men have been dominant in their own right, and if this fight does get booked, it could easily turn into one of the most explosive title bouts in recent memory. Ilia has taken the UFC by storm since his arrival, showcasing a lethal combination of striking, durability, and fight-ending power that has made him one of the most feared names in the sport. Gaethje, on the other hand, has been knocking on the door of the lightweight championship for years. He's one of the most violent fighters the UFC has ever seen, known for his devastating leg kicks, relentless pressure, and knockout ability. This is the fight that could finally grant him the one thing he's been chasing his entire career, the lightweight title. Recently, Gaethje's manager Ali Abdelaziz weighed in on the hypothetical showdown. He described the matchup as nothing short of a car crash. In his words, this fight comes down to who lands first, because in his opinion, whoever connects clean is going to sleep. Abdelaziz admitted that while Ilia is a dangerous striker, he wouldn't be surprised if Ilia turned to his wrestling when faced with the raw power of Gaethje. Standing in front of someone like Justin and exchanging punches is a dangerous game, and Abdelaziz believes Ilia is smart enough to mix things up. Gaethje has built his reputation on being one of the most dangerous strikers in all of MMA. His knockout power is undeniable, his forward pressure breaks opponents mentally, and his willingness to walk through fire to land his own shots makes him must-watch every time he steps into the cage. Abdelaziz reminded everyone of this, stressing that Ilia would have to respect the power coming back his way. While Ilia is known for his boxing and KO power at featherweight and lightweight, Gaethje's experience and sheer violence could change the entire dynamic of the fight. Still, Ilia's game is much more well-rounded than some give him credit for. His wrestling and grappling are often overlooked because of his highlight reel knockouts, but they are very much part of his arsenal. If he does attempt to wrestle Gaethje, it could add another layer to an already fascinating stylistic clash. The possibility of Ilia mixing takedowns with striking while Gaethje looks to create chaos and land heavy counters is exactly what makes this potential matchup so appealing. Abdelaziz closed his thoughts by calling it one of the best fights the UFC can make right now. He acknowledged just how evenly matched and explosive this contest could be, saying the clash between these two warriors is guaranteed chaos from the opening bell. For Gaethje, it's about finally capturing that elusive lightweight crown. For Ilia, it's about continuing his rise and cementing himself as the most dangerous fighter across multiple divisions. If the UFC makes it official, fans should expect nothing less than pure violence and a fight that could go down as one of the most entertaining of the year. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has officially received a warning ahead of his welterweight title fight with JDM at UFC 322, and it came directly from JDM's coach Ben Vickers. After Dana White announced the blockbuster card for Madison Square Garden, Vickers joined Submission Radio to share his thoughts on the upcoming showdown, and he didn't hold back when addressing Islam's potential vulnerabilities. According to him, Makhachev does not possess the same durability as some of JDM's past opponents, and that's a major factor heading into this fight. Vickers pointed out that Bala Muhammad, known for his incredible gas tank and durability, managed to absorb punishment and keep pushing, but in his view, Islam doesn't have that same chin. He made it clear that if JDM lands clean, the fight could be over at any moment. It might be in the very first minute, it could be late in the fight, or it could happen with just seconds left on the clock. For Vickers, the threat of a knockout is always present with JDM because of the way he carries his power across all 5 rounds. One of the biggest attributes Vickers emphasized was JDM's cardio. Going into his fight with Bala, many believed Bala had the best endurance in the division, but by the end of that contest it was JDM who looked fresher, while Bala was the one fading. That performance proved to Vickers and the rest of the MMA world that JDM isn't just a power puncher, he's an athlete with a light conditioning. Being able to maintain knockout power while pushing a relentless pace for 25 minutes is what makes him so dangerous against someone like Islam. Vickers acknowledged that Islam is an incredible fighter, a dominant champion who cleaned out lightweight and is now chasing greatness at welterweight. However, he believes that Islam's chin and his ability to handle JDM's striking power are serious question marks. In his words, if JDM connects flush, it doesn't matter if it's the first round or the 5th, the fight could be done instantly. This constant threat makes Islam vulnerable for the entire duration of the championship fight. At the same time, Vickers praised JDM's mentality. He explained that JDM actually enjoys long fights. He's comfortable going deep into rounds, breaking opponents down piece by piece, and then finding the finish when the opening appears. While he doesn't mind dragging things out, Vickers reminded everyone that the team isn't paid for overtime. If JDM sees an opportunity to end the fight early, he'll take it without hesitation. That mix of patience, endurance, and finishing power is what gives him the edge, according to his coach. In his breakdown, Vickers repeatedly circled back to the same points: JDM's exceptional power, his unmatched cardio, and Islam's questionable ability to absorb heavy shots. It's a warning that sets the stage perfectly for UFC 322. This isn't just about wrestling versus striking, or size versus speed. It's about whether Islam's dominance can withstand the kind of relentless pressure and knockout threat that JDM brings into every single exchange. For Ben Vickers, the answer is clear. JDM is ready, his tools are sharper than ever, and if Islam's chin doesn't hold up under the pressure, fans could witness a shocking finish at Madison Square Garden. Move on to another news. In recent days, a wave of rumors has been spreading around Ilia, the UFC lightweight champion. Reports began circulating that he was preparing to face Justin Gaethje at UFC 322, and the story quickly caught fire across social media and the MMA community. Fans immediately started speculating about how such a matchup would look, given both men's explosive fighting styles, but despite the excitement, the story turned out to be completely false. Ilia's manager Lucas Orzel stepped in to set the record straight. He explained the reports came from a fake source where someone created a false account in his name, posted a fabricated image, and deleted it after it spread. Unfortunately, several outlets picked it up without checking, fueling the rumors further. Orzel emphasized that Ilia is not in training camp and hasn't even received an official fight offer. This clarification, while disappointing for fans who imagined Ilia versus Gaethje, highlights how fast misinformation spreads in MMA. Right now, Ilia is focused on rest and recovery, taking time away from the cage to recharge physically and mentally after a demanding run. At this stage, his next opponent remains completely open. For context, Ilia last fought at UFC 317, where he made a massive statement by knocking out Charles Oliveira in the very first round. That performance solidified his status as one of the most dangerous champions in the sport. The way he dismantled Oliveira showed not just power but absolute confidence on the biggest stage. The false reports of his return prove how hungry fans are to see him fight again. Whether it ends up being Gaethje, Arman, or anyone else, whenever Ilia steps into the cage, fireworks are guaranteed. For now, he waits, heals, and prepares for what will certainly be one of the year's most anticipated fights.